सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। See, this truth that God is real and God is in us, everything else is Maya, is known to, I don't want to say all over the world because I don't know. Almost every Indian, including your vegetable vendor and your servants, they all know God is inside, God is permanent, everything else is Maya. This much everybody knows. And this is the ultimate. But why we are not able to live? Why we are not able to live? Because of the vasanas. Because of the vasanas. So this immortality, God, beauty, Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, Shantam, all different dimensions of that reality which we are, essential being, which is the core of our personality, is covered by the vasanas. One more thing, can the vasanas cover the self? Self is infinite. Vasanas are finite. How can they cover? Can a cloud cover the sun or moon? Clouds are very small. And, if you go to Tirupati on some days, you go above the clouds, really. You can see on your route clouds below you. Sometimes in the flights also. But the clouds cover your eye. The clouds cover your eye. They cannot cover the sun or moon. The eye is covered. Here also the same thing. Vasanas cover the eye, capital I. In the sense, they cover our mind. They cover our intellect. So this ever-present, immaculate, infinite reality, our essential being, if it has to be felt and experienced, these curtains of vasanas have to be brought down. Vasanas are our likes and dislikes. Mainly, all vasanas start from our identification with the body. The mind, the intellect, all of them start from the level of the body. That I am the body is the source of all vasanas. So, this has to go. Therefore, first we have been told that you are not the body, you are the self. This is Sravana, coming to know what we are. This removes the ignorance, I do not know myself. But even then, I am not able to understand very clearly. Reflection has to be done. That is manana. Through Sravana, that aspect of ignorance that I do not know is removed. Through manana, I do not understand has been removed. Then finally, I don't experience it. That is removed by meditation or nididhyasana. But to come to the level of manana itself, the vasanas have to be reduced. The vasanas have to be made minimum. That process of reducing these vasanas to make us fit for contemplation is called karma yoga. So Sri Krishna first gave the nature of the Atman, then he gave us the karma yoga and summarized karma yoga in 2 verses 38 and 47. And in the process, he also compared this karma yoga to the rituals, which is karma yoga in the ancient days. Because the rituals were mainly used to reduce the vasanas only. Even if the rituals were done for fulfilling desires, kamya karmas, this person detaches from the ego to an extent and believes in God. He starts more and more depending on God, reducing the ego. That way, even the karma yoga of the rituals used to help. But as days are growing, Kali, people cannot spend the time or have the leisure or have the inclination because distractions are too many to do the ritualistic karmas. So Sri Veda Vyasa said, you don't have to do, take the spirit. What is the spirit of karma yoga? Invoking a higher power, dedicating all your actions to that power or a cause, welfare of the totality. Detached from the dependence on results. Do not have the sense of agency and enjoy it. So this spirit has been taken into the karma yoga. Veda Vyasa brought in, not only in Gita, he does it in fact more elaborately, this nature of devotion, Advaita and all that in Bhagavatam. He does there more elaborately. So this karma yoga, he says, doesn't have the problems in the ritualistic karma yoga where it can be stopped halfway through due to some hindrances from sources unknown, sources known, from your own sources. Trapatrayam. And also, if you do not do it properly, you can get pratyavaya dosha. My karma yoga doesn't have, he says. Then he says, summarizes karmaniyeva adhikarahati ma phaleshu kadachana. You have control only on the actions. You have no control over the results. Therefore, do not have a fixed goal. No goal is going to make you immortal or take away the immortality that is your nature. Why do you want to fix a goal as though you need it? Don't have a fixed goal. But that doesn't mean you should be idle. You should be dynamically active. He says that. And then he says, the man through Karma Yoga having purified, when he enjoys the state of the self, all these paltry things that you expect from these Karma Yogas, they are all included in that. Like when a flood of water is there, the well water is included in that. Having said, some finer strokes of Karma Yoga he is going to give us now. Some finer strokes of Karma Yoga. 48. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Yogastha, steadfast in yoga, staying in yoga. That means steadfast in yoga. Yogastha, staying in yoga. That means steadfast in yoga. Do all your actions. It doesn't mean that you should not work. You should work. That's why he addresses Dhananjaya, the one who conquers, one who amassed wealth from his various encounters with other kings during Rajasuya. Tyakto Dhananjaya, Sangam Tyaktva. Leave all your attachment and work. What is this yogastha, staying in yoga? This yoga is a word. Sri Vedavyasa has exploited it to the maximum. He uses it in several contexts. In Bhagavata, he makes even stealing a yoga, sthena yoga, sambhrama yoga. Through anger, you try to invoke God. Like that, in Gita itself, other than the three yogas we are all familiar with, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, he says, Dukkha Samyoga Viyogam Yogam Uchyate. Detaching from your attachment to dukkha is yoga. And now here he says, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate, equanimity. What is equanimity? Siddhya Siddhyo Samo Bhutva, being equanimous in both success and failure, in both achievements and failures. Keeping the mind in equanimity is yoga. So, trying to keep the mind equanimous and work, not getting attached to results, meaning going beyond the inevitable opposites of success and failure, which are only interpretations of your mind. When you fail in anything, you become a master of situations sometimes, not all the time. Or it becomes a motivation for greater achievement. Therefore, these are only perceptions. Rise above perceptions. Rise above judgments. You can only do when you tune yourself to that reality. And that is called yoga. That is called yoga. Yoga samatvam yoga uchyate. Keeping the mind in that stature of equanimity. Do all your works, detaching from the results. This is one tip. Next. Durena hyevaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanaman vichya krupana pala hetavaha. Durena, far from it. From what? Durena hi karma. Karma is far from what? Buddhi yoga, from knowledge. Therefore, buddhau sharanamanvicha. Take recourse to knowledge. Krupanaha bhalahetavaha. People who work for the fruits are krupanaha, miserable. Miserable because they are misers. Why they are misers? They have the infinite Lord, Lakshmipati in himself, in whose chest is Lakshmi. All the worlds are in him, and that he is in you. Leaving him, you search for paltry things outside. One who has the resources and doesn't spend for his needs is called a miser. Similarly, you have the Lord in you, not tapping him, not tuning to him, run after paltry things, is a miser, and therefore he is miserable. Krupanaha, karpanya bhavaha, dure nahi avaram karma, buddhi yoga dhananjaya, buddhau sharanamanvicha, krupana palahetavaha. Take recourse to knowledge. This will completely dissolve the problems. It doesn't solve the problems. It dissolves the problem. That problem itself will not be there. One more clue is going to give. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrute tasmad yogaya yujyasva yogaha karmasu kaushal. There, he said, what is samatva? Keeping equanimous in both success and failure. Siddhi, asiddhi. Results. Here, detached from the very costs. Actions done well, actions not done well. Do not identify. Do your best. Nothing matters. Nothing matters because nothing is worth in this world. Do your best and do not worry about perfect actions or imperfect actions. In fact, this is the major worry. Even without knowing Gita, now a lot of management people are talking on this subject, that the problem is running after perfection. How do you get perfection from an imperfect product? Body, mind, intellect, BMI are imperfect. OET, object, emotions, and thoughts are imperfect. The encounter between the BMI and the OET is the life. How do you get perfection in this? Running after perfection, getting disappointed, dejected. You know, if a student gets into IIT, he has to be far above the average people. And there they develop complexes, seeing others' comparisons. And suicides are common in IIT. Who made this misery to you? You made it. Why is IIT degree so important? To get money. Why is money so important? A lot of people left their kingdoms for peace. And when you find peace, money will come on its own. You find peace, money will come on its own because people will come to you to get clues of this peace and they will do anything for you. So therefore, here, Sukrita Dushkrutayohu, actions done well and not done well, their results, Siddhi, Asiddhi, detached from both. And then how to work? Yoga yujyasva. Work for the sake of yoga means what? Integrating the mind and intellect. And together focusing it to the self is called yoga. And what is the yoga? There he has given definition. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Here he gives the definition. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Yoga is skill in action. This because the language doesn't have the right word for that English language. It's said sometimes dexterity, sometimes skill, yoga, kaushalam. That's not exactly kaushalam. Kaushalam
Uncle, you're muted, Uncle.
It's okay? Are you able to hear?
Yes, now we can.
I didn't mute. When the current connection went, it got muted. Is it okay now?
Yeah, Uncle, perfect. Perfect.
Okay, perfect, right. What happens if something happens to this, the class cannot be conducted? You get worried, you think it's time wasted. No, close it coolly, put the TV and see the cricket. Bas. That's called yoga. Siddhi, Asiddhi. Sukruta, Dushkruta. And that type of mind is not dissipated and therefore is dexterous, skillful, takes into account the holistic welfare of the BMI serving the spirit, the womb. That is called Kaushala. The BMI serving the spirit womb is called Kaushala. Today, what are we doing? Please, I beg you, do not take words as rhetoric. See how much we are doing all these things in our life. Instead of BMI serving womb, we are making womb God serve BMI. What a tragedy. What a tragedy. How will you have peace? So when actions are done, detaching from the results and the actions, done for the sake of yoga, only for self-purification, bringing the mind under the control of the intellect so that it can focus to the self. That is called yoga. That type of action is kushalaha, kaushalam. It takes into its purview all angles. Your BMI, serving whom, plus welfare of the loka. That is called dexterity. Kushalatvam is that. In olden days, because I come from village, when we write letters, now you write, how are you? How is your husband? How are children? How are the grandfather? All you write. In the olden days, simple. Ubhaya kushalo pari. Having inquired the welfare of both. Upari. Further, let us proceed. Ubhaya kushalo pari. That is kaushala. If you have more practical details, call Kaushalya. Karmajam buddhi yukta. I forgot. In the earlier stanza, he said samatvam yoga uchyate. Keeping equanimity is yoga. Here, he says yoga karmasu kaushalam, dexterity or skill in action. Why? There, you were asked to detach from siddhi, asiddhi, success and failure. At that time, you get agitated. Therefore, samatvam yoga uchyate. Here, the cause, you are worried about actions done well, not done well. Why are you worried? You do actions only for the sake of yoga. That action is the best action, perfect action. Do not worry about other perfect and imperfect actions. So in the context, he has used there samatvam, here kaushalam, and therefore when you are in samatva, you are kushalaha, or when you are a kushalaha, your mind is in samatvam. They are connected. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubheshu krita dushkruti. Tasmad yogaya yujyasva. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Karmajam buddhi yuktahi. Phalam tyaktva manishinaha. Janma bandha vinurmuktaha. Padam gachanti anamayam. We work in the world for fruits, results. You say detach. Then what for? Karmajam buddhi yuktahi. Aligning yourself with knowledge, intellect, renouncing the results born out of action. Manishinaha, the contemplative one, goes beyond all limitation. Janma bandha vinurmuktaha, the bondages of birth. And goes where? Tadam gachanti anamayam. Beyond all evil. He reaches a state where there is no evil, where there is no disease. Therefore, you have to renounce. Who won't renounce small things if he is promised big things? We are afraid of renouncing because we do not know what we gain from that renunciation. Therefore, he says, Padam gachanti anamayam. And now in the next two stanzas, tell us, when does this karma yoga find fulfillment? And you know now no more have to worry about doing actions in the spirit of karma yoga. That becomes your nature. You don't have to try. When? Next two verses give that. Yada te moha kalilam buddhi iti tarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam srotavyasya srutasya cha tada gantasi nirvedam srotavyasya srutasya cha. Yada te moha kalilam buddhihi tarishyati. when you go beyond this confused mind and intellect. When your intellect crosses all the delusions, agitations of the mind. When your intellect crosses all the agitations of the mind. When you go beyond these delusions, what are the delusions? I am the body. I need these. I need these results. I must do perfect actions. I cannot stand imperfect actions. I need success. I cannot take failure. All these are delusions. Arjuna's delusion, he is going to kill all of them. Because the basis is, he thinks people are the body. Gurudev says, you are not body with a self. You are a self with the body. So, when your intellect crosses this mire of delusion, tadagantasi nirvedam, then you become indifferent to all that you have had and all that you will be hearing. What you have had and what you are going to hear. You become indifferent. Means what? You have no value. Somebody says, you know, have you seen that movie? I have not. Oh, what? How did you miss that? That is very ordinary thing. It may not disturb even a normal matured person. What about Vedanta students? Have you heard him? No. Hare, what have you heard if without hearing him? Have you read the Bhashya? No. If he says, yes, I have read. Did you read Anandagiri Tika? Did you read did you hear the Brahma Sutras? First thing, no. Second thing, if said, yes. Did you go through Parimala? You know, 5, 6 names, they're all tippanis, all the commentaries, notes. Right? And I do not know why all the tippanis carry women's names. Right? What is this? If anybody asks you like that, you simply tell them that all these words that are spoken, whatever is it, it can be Vedas, it can be Brahma Sutras, it can be commentaries. They are all finite, said Sri Shankara. You quote Adi Shankara. He said that. When somebody asked him, are the Vedas eternal? He asked, what Vedas are you talking? The written Vedas. They are mere assemblage of letters. The Veda that happens in you as an experience is the eternal Veda. How do you get that experienced Veda? When Guru points out to you, you are not the body, mind, intellect. That which watches the body, mind, intellect. That which sees the changes of the body, mind, intellect. That which, when it witnesses the changes, it itself does not change. That which you was conscious of your childhood body, adolescent body, youth body, old age body, and that which did not change is you. You are not the BMI, you are home. Enough. It takes 1 minute for you to realize. That's all I know. I don't need to know anything else. Not only Sri Shankara said, Ramana's theory is that whenever you have a problem and ask questions, find out first who is this questioner. And when you know the questioner, the questions are not there. So therefore he says, Yada te moha kalilam. When you are not confused, when people say, did you experience that? Did you get that? Did you hear that? You have no value for anything. You are not disturbed. I don't need anything. All that I need is in me. My Krishna is in me. My Rama is in me. I am Krishna. I am Rama. What do I need? Must be able to talk like this. Then you have gone beyond delusions. Shruti vipratipanna te yadhastasyate nischala samadhau achala buddhihi tada yogamavapsasi. Shruti vipratipanna te, when you hear contradicting statements, when your mind intellect is steady, in equanimous mind, achala buddhihi, motionless, immovable, that is called the perfection, atma, the achievement in yoga. That means anything empirical, anything in the objective world, even the Shastric study, it should not disturb you. Some people say, Sir, Hemachandru sir, you have not done anything in your life in a regular way. You did not complete your studies. Business, you didn't have any training. You started like that because your father died at 17. You did everything wrong. Proof, Gurudev himself writes, how can you do this? Right? Gurudev writes several letters to me. How can you do this? You were disorganized. Yes, true. I didn't have anything regular. What about studies, Vedanta? No, I didn't go to Sandipani. I didn't go to Sandipani. Nothing I did in the proper way. Only thing I did in the proper way is not to get married. And supposing everybody says, I won't even argue with them. Yeah. So how do you teach Gita? Array, that's the way I am happy. Their destiny, they hear. What am I to do? I love it. I'm happy with that. You tell them not to listen to me. It's not my problem. Why? Because I have the experience. How did the experience come? First, you wanted to change. Atma Krupa. Then comes Ishwara Krupa. Then comes Guru Krupa. Then comes Shastra Krupa. When you reach that state of not being disturbed by others pointing out this, that, and all that, you have reached the state of yoga. I didn't continue. When somebody says you have all these imperfections, yes, and they say you are not Hemachandru, I will bow down, prostrate, and say, Sir, I have respect for you. You told me I have not completed studies, I did not do business properly, I did not learn Shastras properly, all right. But I am Hemachandru, sir, that I know, sir. Because that's my experience. A few people blind people touching an elephant, somebody says it's like a wall. Correct. Somebody says it's like a pillar when it touches the leg. Correct. Somebody says it's like a rope when it touches the tail. Correct. All are correct, but all are not fully correct. When will they be correct? When they get the vision. Similarly, whoever talks about God, whoever talks about Vedanta, they're all right because they have some basis. This is also Sri Shankara says, whoever talks anything about Vedanta and God, they have some perception, therefore they are not completely wrong. And nobody can talk about Vedanta or God completely because it is beyond words. Therefore, Shankara says, all are acceptable to us We do not say he is perfect, he is imperfect. All are acceptable because nobody is totally perfect in words. Nobody is totally imperfect in words. It's at that stage you have reached the height of yoga. What did he say there? Samadhau achala buddhi. When your mind does not waver and it's equanimous and steady. That is, in other words, samadhi. In other words, is also Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna is one's whose wisdom is steady. Sthita, steady. Prajna, wisdom. Now, the next portion is Arjuna asks Sri Krishna, you have said about this Sthita Prajna state. It's very subtle, very difficult. Can you give me some people who live like that, indications, so that I can emulate them? Because it's very subtle. I would like to recognize them and emulate them. This portion of the 18 verses is called Sthita Prajna portion of the Gita, 18 verses. Sri Gurudev says, and with a reason, this is the best poetry anywhere. Because in 18 verses, the problem is fully enumerated, solution is fully enumerated, and what are the symptoms? Why does he live like that? What will he get out of that? How does he fall? All are covered, number one. Number two, in all literatures in the world, even if they have not met, there are a lot of common examples, like the tree and the chariot. The example of the tree, example of the chariot are there in many religions. But there are here a few examples which are unique, which are beautiful. So Swamiji says, Gurudev says, this is word painting of Vedavyasa. Why does he call word painting? In painting, you can see movement as though horse is running, but you can't see 4 dimensions. In sculpture, you can see 4 dimensions, but you can't see movement. In Vedavyasa's Sthita Prajna poetry, you can feel the movement and the 4th dimension that takes you to your own self. This was chanted every day along with the 11th chapter in Sri Gandhiji's prayer meetings. That day also, when he came out of the prayer meeting, somebody shot, he must have chanted this. A beautiful masterpiece. Let us see. Arjuna vacha Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadi kim prabhaseta kimasita brajeta kim. Sthita Prajnasya of this man whom you have described as a man of steady wisdom who doesn't waver when contradictory statements are made. Shruti Vipratipanna. You talked about Samadhi. That man of steady wisdom. Can you define him? Ka bhasha. Bhasha means definition. It's not that whether he talks Sanskrit or Tamil or Telugu. Definitions. Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha. You talked about his steady wisdom, Samadhi. What is the nature of that? And such a man of steady wisdom, how does he talk? Kim Prabhaseta. How does he talk? And because all of you know Sanskrit more than me, Prabhasheta Kim, does he talk at all? How does he talk? Or does he talk at all? Kim Asita, how does he sit? Asita Kim, does he ever sit? Vrajeta Kim, how does he move? Don't you think when you hear this, it seems to be mad ramblings. What is the point in asking whether a wise man, a steady Sthita Prajna, does he sit? How does he sit? How does he talk? How does he move? He will sit like us. He will move like us. He will talk like us. Because we have seen Gurudev. We have seen several Mahatmas. We have seen Mahaperiyava. They all did the same. What is the question? Whenever such a doubt comes, we should have faith in the Shastra and the Guru and try to see what they mean. When he says, Kim Prabhasheta, how does he transact with the world? Kim Asita, when he is alone, what is his attitude? Kim Rajeta, how does he move amongst various situations, enchanting world of plurality? Kim Rajeta. So these are the symbolic terms used through how does he speak, how does he sit, how does he move about. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan Atman Yevatmana Tustaha Sthita Pragnasta Dochyate Prajahati Yada Kaman. When he completely casts off all desires, Sarvan Partha Manogatan, which the mind projects to you, Atmaneva Atmana Tustaha, drawing its inspiration, happiness from himself, such a man, Sthita Prajnaha, Tada Uchyate, he is called as Sthita Prajna. When I depend upon the outside world for my happiness and security, how can my mind be steady? Because I have no control over the outside world. Only when I do not depend upon the outside world, when whatever I want is in me, I can be unpattha. I do not need anything to be fulfilled through desires. Nobody desires for a head on the shoulders, though they may desire for something in the head. Because all of us have that. You only desire what you don't have. This man is feeling the fullness of the self, therefore he has no desires. So no desires means does not feel inadequate, feels adequate, means he knows himself to be the self. He has no ignorance, he is the body, mind, intellect, because when you think you are the body, mind, intellect, they being finite, you have inadequacies, therefore you have desires. So when he says you have no desires, it implies you have no ignorance, you have knowledge. So cast off all desires means he has no ignorance. By trying to say the effects are not there, he is denying the cause, the ignorance. Otherwise it is meaningless. This man has no desires, then he is a stone. I don't want to live that life. I want to enjoy. He says, yes, you have the right to enjoy, but the joys you are getting are finite, and dukkha yonaya, wombs of sorrow. Get the best, the total maximum. Where do you get it? Atmani eva atmana tustaha, established in himself by himself. Such a man, sthita prajnaha, tada uchati. He is called a sthita prajna. Then, that's the definition. He said, ka bhasha, that's the definition. And now, how does he meet pleasant and unpleasant experiences? What is his attitude? Dukkeshu anudvigna manaha, sukheshu vigataspruhaha, vita raga bhaya krodaha, stitadihi munirchati. Dukkeshu anudvigna, sorrow comes. Veda Vyasa is very, very, very practical. He never say, don't identify with sorrow, don't enjoy. He always uses the exact prefix. Anudvigna mana, udvigna allowed, little sorrow is allowed. Anudvigna mana, lost in sorrow is not allowed. Similarly, enjoy. But don't get attached. Vigataspruha, sukeshu, vigataspruha. Gurudev gives all practical examples. He was taking coffee and people were sitting. Who says there is no joy in coffee? Only thing is it is finite. That's all you have to be. Enjoy, but you know, these are all fleeting. The joy comes not from coffee, from myself. The joy from me is extended to the coffee. Brahmananda is Vishayananda. Vigataspruhaha, not getting attached. Vitaraga bhayakrodha. Again, this is also removing ignorance. When you are ignorant, you have desires, kama. When kama is fulfilled, raga, attachment. Or fear of losing, bhaya. When there is an obstruction to desire, krodha. Where is the root? Ignorance. Vitaraga bhaya krodha means free from ignorance. Titadihi munurichate. Such a person is called a contemplative one. Muni means contemplative. Mananasilatvat munihi. A contemplative one. Maybe you can use this for Kimasita, how does he sit? And the next, here again this is the effect, dukkha sukha. From the cause he says next to us, yaha sarvatra anabhisnehaha tat tat prapya shubha shubham nabhinandati nadvesti tasya prajna pratisthita. Yaha sarvatra, one at all times, everywhere, na anabhisneha, without excessive attachment, shubha ashubham, when he meets positive and negative, good and bad experiences. As I said earlier, one is effect, this is cause. Na abhinandati, he doesn't get excited and elated when he gets something pleasant, nor does he hate when he gets something unpleasant. He knows everything you need. Therefore, that doctor, Sri Krishna, gives you sweet and bitter pills. So he doesn't hate, not dvesti. Tasya prajna pratisthita. His wisdom is steady. And now, the next verse. How does he move? How does he move? Kim rajeta. Because he can't sit at home only. And when he moves outside, there are several things not conducive to spiritual living you have to see. How does he protect from those disturbances? Yada samharate chayam kurmongani vasarvasha. Indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita. A tortoise can move in water and land. This person can be alone and also can move in the society. Sthita prajna. Tortoise can move on land and be in water. This person can be in himself and also move in the external world. When he moves in the external world, he sees something is not conducive to his spiritual living, like the tortoise when it is moving on the land. When he sees children throwing pebbles, it withdraws all its limbs under the shell. So to this person, when he's moving in the outside world, when there are not conducive things, he withdraws all the antenna, the mind from the senses. And that mind is turned towards the self. Therefore, even though he is seeing them, he is not seeing them. Because mind is in the self. Without the mind going out of the senses, perception is not possible. He withdraws like the tortoise. Yada samharate chayam kurmonganeva sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita. His wisdom is steady. Is one of the loveliest examples. I told you there are a few examples which are extraordinary. This is one of them. This you can apply to everything. Somebody is talking bad about you. Why do you waste time in arguing? Please see, you are going to argue with that man when he is talking rubbish about you. First, have you not accepted that person whom he is talking? Therefore, you accept. Then why fight with him? Number one. Number two, all talk can only be about BMI. You have insulted yourself as the BMI. Then why should others not insult you? So whenever such things happen, also withdraw the mind. Withdraw the mind. And when you do that, what happens? Vishaya vinivartanti niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param društva nivartati. When you withdraw from them, automatically they will recede from you. You have no interest in them. But for some time, taste will be there because you have been habituated for long. When through this withdrawal, your experience of the self intensifies. When you are established in that, even the taste will go. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah. The one who doesn't feed the senses, the sense objects leave. Rasavarjam rasopyasya. Leaving taste. That taste also, rasaha api asya, this man, param društva nivartate, seeing the Supreme vanishes. Gurudev gives a beautiful example. When you stopped smoking or drinking, that moment you clear yourself from all the cartons of cigarettes and bottles and throw them out or give it to somebody. And thereafter what happens? Up to now, anybody coming from abroad or anything from duty-free shops, they will bring you cartons of cigarettes and drinks. Now they know they don't bring. So you are detached from objectivity. But taste may be there for some time. As the joy in you increases, this taste also will go. And now, the next few verses, he is going to tell us what is the state of a mind, what are the causes of its disturbance, how do you manage the mind, how do you transcend the mind, what happens when you transcend the mind. All these are going to be given in the next few verses, which we shall see next class. Also, start the third chapter next class. So have both the books, right? You are getting bonus 15 minutes, right? Good. God bless you all. Om 2-3 people in our group also has tested positive.